Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I give thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us all health to this day. First, I want to thank you for taking your time for today's presentation. Before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Fenia. I'm from Accounting Education B 2016. So, in this opportunity, I would like to present my proposal entitled The Effect of Learning Readiness and Family Environment on Students' Motivation in SMK Negeri 44 Jakarta. Okay, let's start chapter 1. Introduction. In the introduction, the background, the first about education and learning motivation. 2. Based on exciting phenomena. 3. Research gaps. Education is very important because education can change the social and economic aspect of a nation. If someone has a high education, it will be more appreciated by the community, and education also beneficial for someone in the future. Then, regarding learning motivation, there are still many students who are less motivated, so that in learning will tend to be lazy and delay work such as delaying in doing assignment or not paying attention to the teacher when explaining the material. Learning motivation is influenced by the method or strategy of the teacher in teaching, learning facilities, learning readiness, and family environment. Based on the phenomena that is happening now, that is the occurrence of distance learning or daily learning. The teachers rarely carry out online learning activities but only provide assignment to students through online media, so that many children complain and feel tired. This condition makes students become as sick as students, so students are not enthusiastic in learning. Therefore, the readiness of learning of the or the condition of the students influence teaching and learning activities. Besides that, family environment also influence of the distance learning process. Here, parents have more role in exciting students in learning, so if parents have a busy schedule at work, students will feel less attention from parents, so students are not motivated in learning. Next, the research gap. According to research firm Lutfiana and Suryani get the result that the family environment and learning readiness influence learning motivation. According to Stephanie and Latifa, research get the result that learning readiness influence learning motivation, and research from Soleha and Hedy gets result that the family environment has a positive, significant on learning motivation. But the study Al-Musin and Rosie get that result that the readiness of learning has no effect on learning motivation. Then the study of Chandra and Sakban get the result of parental communication pressures do not make a positive contribution to student motivation. Meaning, what is the initial perception based on theoretical analysis that one of the external factors is the family environment does not have an impact on the level of building motivation. Based on my background and research gap, I have an interest in discussing this and raising the title of the influence of learning readiness and family on student motivation. Then, The next is the formulation of the problem. The first is there an effect of learning readiness on student motivation. The second is there an influence on the family environment of student motivation. The third is there an influence of the readiness of learning and family environment of student motivation. There are also research use, the first and the theoretical use and practical use. Next, chapter 2 theory study. Description conceptual. First, motivation to learn. From the expert, namely according to Eswinkel, according to Damianti and Mugiono, according to Soyanto and Accept, it can be concluded that learning motivation can be interpreted as the overall driving force of impetus within students that raises and ensures continuity and gives direction of learning activities so as to achieve goals in the learning process such as getting maximum learning outcome. The second, learning readiness. From three experts, namely Susan B. Basel, Thorndike, and Jamara, it can be concluded that learning readiness is the initial condition of students such as health and knowledge of students in learning or participating in learning activities, and students are ready to respond in their own way to achieve learning objectives by getting optimal learning outcomes. The third, family environment. From the experts, namely Masan and Rahmat, Sri Lestari, and Samsul Bahri Talib, it can be concluded the family environment is the first and foremost social environment for children in their developmental stage because children get affection, protection, and identity for their members. In addition to that, in the family, there is also a process of interaction with other family members, especially with their parents, namely mother and father. Then there are relevant research results. The first, Journal of Neighborhood and Family Effect on Learning Motivation among Urban African American Middle School Youth. The second, Journal of Exploring the Role of Learning Readiness on Student Satisfaction and Motivation in Flipped Classroom. The third, Journal of the Effect of School Environment, Family Environment, and Learning Motivation on Students' Learning Performance. The fourth, the Journal Influence of Family Environment, Learning Discipline, Teacher Social Competence, and Learning Readiness to Learning Motivation. 5. Journal of the Influence of Family Environment, Learning Readiness, and Learning Discipline on Learning Motivation of Class 11 IPS students in economic subject in MANU Rawdatul Muallimin Building. 6. Journal of the Effect of Learning Readiness, Professional Competence of Teachers, and the Learning Environment on Learning Motivation in Filling Subjects. 7. Journal of the Effect of Teachers' Teaching Skills and Learning Readiness on Economic Learning Outcomes through Learning Motivation as Intervening Variables for Class 11 Students of SMA Negeri 14 Semarang. 8. Journal Effect of Learning Facilities and Family Environment on Integrated Social Study Learning Outcomes through Learning Motivation at SMP Negeri 1 Ambarawa, Class 7 Study Year 2013 and 2014. 9. Journal of the Effect Learning Style, Learning Readiness through learning motivation as intervening variables on a learning activity. 10. Journal effect of learning facilities, classroom management, and family environment on economic learning outcomes through student learning motivation in class 11 MAL Asror Asmarang City. And finally, theoretical framework, effect of learning readiness on learning motivation. According to Aldana, in his book Sarina and Magdalena, states that motivation can be seen as a general term that refers to the regulation of individual behavior where that the needs or impulses from within an internship, a kind of gift from the environment encourage individuals to satisfy their needs or to strive towards achieving that the expected goal. If the human organism is in readiness to respond to the situation and there are appropriate stimulation, then the organism is motivated or encouraged by an urge to blend in a satisfying activity. The next, according to Rosman, states that the strategy to open lesson set introduction skills was intended as an initial activity to condition students so that students' attention and motivation grow, so that both physically and psychologically have readiness to carry out learning activities. The last, according to Thorndike in this book, Husama et al. States that readiness refers to the assumption that organism satisfaction comes from the use of condition units where these units cause tension and encourage organisms to do or not do something. The next, theoretical framework from effect of family environment on learning motivation. According to Miyazaki and Dewi Arumsari, state that positive motivation does not have to come from far away. Positive motivation can come from a very close place, namely the family environment. The next, according to Evelyn Schreger, stated that the relationship between family members who are less humorous will cause a rigid atmosphere and tense in the family, which causes children less eager to learn, while to home atmosphere that is familiar, fun, and affectionate will provide a strong learning motivation or learning motivation children. The last, according to Hadi Winoto and Tony Setiabudi, state that families must gradually begin to learn to accept difference and encourage children to be willing and able to express their desires that good that habits will then be embedded as part of a lifestyle and behavior patterns that are full of struggle and high motivation to compete. Then, the theoretical framework from effect of learning readiness and family environment on learning motivation. According to Suprihatiningsi, it was stated that the mental readiness of students and support from the environment in the form of family support was needed to motivate students so that the learning process could be liked by students and that students' attention and learning outcomes improve. Next, according to Susan Bastable, state that students' personal and attributes such as emotional readiness or learning readiness can shape individual motivation for learning and learning environment characteristics such as family can influence one's motivation. The next, According to Ois Sunati, state that the readiness of learning and conducive learning environment as the family environment guides high learning motivation. The next, chapter 3, research methodology. In the research methodology, I would like to research SMK Negeri 44 Jakarta, research time June until August 2020. The research method is quantitative with survey methods. The studies use primary data so that the data collection technique is by questionnaire and measured by Likert scale. The sampling technique used is proportional random sampling. The population is grades 11 and 12 students measuring in AKL as many as 106 and get a sample 814. The next, about learning motivation indicator. The first, duration of learning activities, how much time is used of course without coercion from the parties. The second, frequency of learning activities, how often are activities in a certain period of time. Third, fortitude, tenacity, and ability to face obstacles and difficult to achieve goals. Four, devotion and sacrifice money, energy, mind, even his soul or life to achieve goals. Five, the level of expression intent plans, goals, targets, or targets and their ideals to be achieved with the activities carried out. Next, about learning readiness indicator. 1. Physical readiness. 2. Emotion readiness. 3. Mental readiness. 4. Knowledge readiness. Next, family environment indicator. First, family tree. Second, family characteristic. Third, family cohesion or interaction between family members. And the last, family communication through the social role it plays. And then the last in the chapter 3 about data analysis technique. First, descriptive statistical analysis. 2. Test recruitment analysis about normality test and linearity test. 3. Multiple regression equation. 4. Hypothesis testing, t-test and f-test. 5. Analysis of the convention of determination. Well, that's my presentation. Apologize if there are mistakes that are not pleasing. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.